Hello and welcome to Studio Content Kings. Today I'm going to show you how to use all the equipment inside the Gray podcast room so that you get the best quality audio and video that there is available. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is audio quality. On all podcasts, the most important thing is audio quality. No matter how good your video looks, if you don't have amazing audio quality, you're not going to have a successful podcast. So I'd like to start by showing you a few things from the equipment on the table that will allow you to set yourself up for success from the very beginning. And I'd also like to talk about a few things that I've noticed people doing wrong and how we can prevent any mishaps or any bad audio. So the first things first, we are using the Tascam Mixcast 4 to record our audio, and we are integrating it with a Blackmagic Video ATEM switcher. Now, the Tascam Mixcast 4 records the audio directly onto an SD card by itself, individually tracked out. And you get a file for all 8 tracks that are listed here. So tracks number 1 through 4 are color coordinated for each specific microphone. Now, it's important that you only have the microphone turned up that you're using. Otherwise, you're going to create some feedback or echoes that are unneeded. If you have multiple people talking, you will need to turn up each microphone dedicated to each channel. So channels marked 1 through 4 on the Mixcast 4 represent the 4 microphones. The USB signal or symbol on the mixer represents the audio coming from the computer. The phone represents if you wanted to plug in a 1/8 inch audio source. Sometimes people want to bring their own laptops and play stuff off of that laptop. We would plug them in with the 1/8 inch headphone out from their laptop into the mixer. If people have something on their phone that they want to play, we recommend that they connect to the Mixcast 4 via Bluetooth, and then they turn the Bluetooth channel up appropriately for that audio as well. And the last track is dedicated to the sound effects. It has stock sound effects built in. There's 8 stock sound effects, but there's multiple pages, and you could add any custom drops or sound effects that you wanted so that you could minimize the amount of post-production you do if you are handy enough to hit those at the right times. The biggest thing that I see people doing is they're accidentally hitting the solo button or the mute button located at the top of the mixer. Okay? Now, if I hit the solo button on my own voice, that would be fine if I'm the only one talking. But if I have other people talking, then the solo button is going to mute their other microphones. And then when somebody talks, it's going to sound like they're coming from somewhere else because they're not speaking directly into the microphone, right? The other thing is the mute channel on the top. It's important that we don't hit the mute on the top, that we just lower the volume all the way down. USB is for the computer. Let's say you wanted to play something on the house computer. If you wanted to play something on the house computer, you could pull it up while somebody is talking, and you could literally play it on that computer there, okay? And then we could drag that video over to our switcher, and you would see it live and hear it at the same time, okay? So the other thing that you need to worry about is this monitor out knob. So the monitor out knob represents your main audio out into the video interface. If you don't have the on button engaged on mic 1, you will still see a signal, but it will not go through to the program. If I want to record additional audio, I have to make sure it's connected to the Mixcast. So when I'm recording, I like to hit record on both the Tascam mixer as well as on the switcher. And what that does is that allows me to get backup audio individually tracked out just in case there's an audio issue on the video recording. Then I have multiple sources and I can fix any problem. Okay? There is an SD card in the Tascam mixer, and we would recommend that people bring their own SD card, and we can literally just put their SD card in, hit record, we're done, we can give them their SD card back. We don't have to use their SD card, but if we don't, I don't normally give them the audio unless there's an issue. So I record the audio separately every time, but I do not give them the audio files because it's time consuming to upload and transfer files. So if I can avoid it, I try to get them set up with perfect audio, set up on the Blackmagic, which is the video switcher. So audio comes out from the Tascam into the video switcher, okay? And this on button needs to be on in order for you to have audio recording. And so since the headphones are plugged into the Tascam mixer, you will still hear yourself even if the audio is not turned on the Blackmagic switcher. So it's important that you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the multi-view and see your audio lit up and clear. And that's how you know that you are getting the proper audio recorded for your session. Okay? The next thing we're going to notice is the record. Okay? So clearly I can see the record counting down and that I'm recording. If for some reason that timer ever stops, then you're having a problem with your recording. You need to stop and figure out what's wrong and then start your recording over. Because if you bring in a corrupted solid-state drive, you might have issues with your recording, which is why we recommend you bring a new solid-state drive in with you for recording USB-C. The reason why it's important that we bring a solid-state drive is because you need something that transfers data at 500 megs a second or more. A regular USB thumb drive transfers data at 10 megabytes a second or less. A solid-state thumb drive, depending on the manufacturer, or a solid-state drive, is going to transfer between 500, 800, even 1,000 megs a second. Now, the reason why this is important is because the Blackmagic recorder is going to adjust your video quality based on your transfer speed. So the lower your transfer speed, the smaller and crappier your pixelation and your video files are going to be. The faster that your transfer rate on your solid-state drive is, then the better the video quality you're going to get. So while we're talking about video quality, it's important to check your camera focus on every camera before you get started. Someone before you might have adjusted the camera, changed the shot angle, and in doing so might have accidentally bumped the manual focus on each camera. So before you get started, always check that you have the audio output that you want and that your cameras are in focus. I have the Blackmagic switcher control pulled up here. Okay, now you can see the live stream here is off. You can only live stream to one thing at a time. However, there's several other apps that allow you to stream to that app, and then in that app you can stream to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things at once. Down here under recording, right now I do not have it enabled, but it needs to be enabled on all your recordings, and that is the ISO recording. If you have the ISO recording enabled, and it will normally always be enabled, but you need to check it every time, then it will record everything that happens on camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and camera 4, all as individual files with no breakage, so you have 4 channels of B-roll to fix any mistakes that you might have made while using the switcher. You're also going to get a 5th file, which is the program file, and it's going to include the audio. Then you're going to get a 6th file with the audio. So you're going to get, with one touch of the record button, you're going to get separate audio files, separate video files, as well as your program file with audio and video together. This allows users to come in and hit one button for recording and get all the B-roll and all the footage that they need to fix any mistakes or to edit their podcast successfully. So as I switch back and forth between camera 2 and camera 4, let's say I make a mistake and I switch to another camera where you can't see me talking and I should have been on the screen while I'm talking. Well, the good thing is if you're using the ISO recorder, every single camera connected to this switcher, it's recording a separate video file. So that way, when you're done, all you do is hit stop, and it will literally record and save all 4 video files, the program file, and the audio separately. If that delay is a long time, do not continue to press stop. Press stop one time. It will not stop right away. When you press stop one time firmly, it will take a couple of seconds based on the speed of your device that you are recording with. Do not panic. If it's flashing, it's processing, okay? If it's flashing while you are recording, you have a problem, okay? So if you notice, we have a solid red light on our recording. If for some reason we were in the middle of the podcast and it was flashing, then that's an issue. Stop the podcast, figure out what's wrong with your drive, record it to another drive or to a computer if you have to, and then that way you can have quality product when you're finished. So I would recommend, if you're doing a podcast longer than an hour, that you get something bigger than 256 gigabytes. So let's go over some of the things that are on this video switcher. Most of the time, you're not going to use most of the stuff on here unless you're pretty advanced and you program a few things ahead of time. Always, 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 first thing, make sure mic 1 is on, because that is the audio from the Tascam mixer. I don't have anything plugged into mic 2, okay? Recording is lit up because we're recording currently, and we are not streaming, but if we were, you would just literally hit the stream button, and it would start streaming. When you're finished, all you have to do is hit stop one time. And it's going to take a second to process. How long it takes depends on the speed of the solid-state drive that you brought with you. If you brought something that's 500 megs a second or more, then when you hit stop, it will only take a couple of seconds, and you'll be able to pull your USB drive out and then take it with you, and you won't need to do anything else. There's no rendering. You'll have everything you need to be successful on your thumb drive. That way, us as a business are not constantly sending people files on our Dropbox. Plus, we don't want to own the content for whoever recorded. That's their content. So if we can eliminate ourselves from owning it, having it, or recording it, would be the best idea. And then that way we're not liable if something happens to it or if an intern comes in here and part of it gets out. So we want to recommend all of our clients bring in their own SSD card, or we'll provide them one. If they want us to send them a Dropbox link, we will, but we're going to start charging for that. So just keep that in mind. $15 for non-members, $10 for members to send a Dropbox link if you don't bring your SSD card with you and you need us to transfer the files. And the reason why is because it's going to take somebody 10, 15, 20 minutes to get it done. So if one of the people here at Studio Content Kings needs to take time out of their day to stop what they're doing, to transfer files, upload them, and then send them to you. And these files are sometimes 100 gigs, because we're transferring 6 files at one time, 5 high-quality video files and an audio file. So it's going to take a few minutes to upload. Sometimes it takes an hour to upload. And then we have to, once it's finished, make sure we remember to send the link or email the client. So because of that, we need to be compensated as we move forward. Last thing, headphones, okay? Headphone volume right here. Headphone volume for each individual set of headphones does not affect the other person's volume, and it doesn't affect the master output, okay? So also, while we're looking at this, if we notice that the VU meter here, I'm not peaking. But if I were to turn my audio up really loud, you can see it peaking right here, how it's going into the white and then it pops into the red. Once you record distorted audio, there is no program in the world that can fix it all the way. So it's more important that you record audio a little lower than you do a little hotter. But you really just want to make sure it's in the sweet spot like it is now. Some sounds are naturally distorted. High-pitched sounds, bangings, explosions. So if you're using an explosion sound effect and it peaks a little bit, that's not a big deal. But if your voice is peaking, that is a big deal. And you won't get the audio quality that you need, and you won't get the viewers that you deserve, because no viewers are going to watch a podcast where the audio is bad. They'll watch it when the video is bad, but not when the audio is bad. So please, please, please keep that in mind. Hopefully I've answered all your questions, and you will be able to effectively navigate the great podcast room by yourself with high-quality audio, high-quality video, and have all the B-roll needed to effectively edit out any mistakes that you may have made, and until you become seamless and perfect every time.